Hey, yeah. How are you? I hope you're doing well. I am Anita, and I would like to call this series My Motherhood Journey. I have been a mother for 2 years and 4 months to twin boys that I gave birth to naturally, 3 minutes apart, and I would like to say that I probably had a I would like to say my labor was relatively short because I had active labor for 30 minutes. Gave birth to the boys 3 minutes apart. So I'm really grateful to God for that. I will not be talking about my conception and labor and delivery story because they are there in my previous videos that I did a few months ago. So you can go check those previous videos and you'll be brought up to speed on that. In this series, I want to talk about my postpartum journey, the body changes that happen, some of the things I could have planned better to make my postpartum better, some of the things I put in place that improved my postpartum. And then I'll also end this series by talking about how motherhood has affected my career. So sit back, relax, and listen to the story. Hope it encourages someone out there. All right, so let's go back to when I gave birth. I gave birth in 2023, April, Good Friday, an amazing labor experience. I was only in hospital for 1 day because why not? I had no complications and I had given birth naturally. So we check out of hospital, very excited. It hadn't dawned on me, just give me a second. Yeah, so it hadn't yet sunk. It hadn't yet sunk that I was now a mother and life was going to be totally different. So we're excited, we get home. That night was terrible. The boys were crying in unison. It was a choir the whole night, and here I am. My body is swollen, it's still tense, I'm still bleeding. I have a lot of water that I had absorbed. I don't know if that's the right word. I had absorbed a lot of water, so I was puffy, I was swollen. I hadn't slept really well because the labor and all that anxiety that comes when you're in labor. So one of the big mistakes that I think I did was to check out of hospital early. I feel like I should have stayed in hospital for maybe an extra 2 days or even 3 days just for me to rest, just for me to have all the support I can get from the midwives and the nurses to help me with the children while I recover and let it sink in about this new chapter. So I would really recommend for a mother out there to at least spend maybe a couple of more days if you can afford in hospital, so you get all the support you need, so that by the time you're checking out of hospital, you're somewhat prepared for what you're signing up for. So as if that was not enough, my husband and I were the ones taking care of our babies, and so that meant that we were both sleep deprived. The twins would not wake up at the same time, so you've just finished feeding one, the other wakes up. You finish feeding the other one, the other wakes up. So I remember for the first 2 weeks we were literally sleeping for only at most an hour in 24 hours. So you can imagine how sleep deprived we were. You can imagine the toll it took on our body. I got so sick. I can remember going to the hospital for IVs because I was very dehydrated. I was on IVs on one hand, and the other hand is holding the pump, the breast pump, to pump milk to ensure there is supply for the boys. So another huge lesson we learned from that is to make sure we get, we should have paid for nurses home care nurses to come and help us with the baby so that I can get enough rest, because I was literally not sleeping. It was terrible. If I remember those days, it was terrible. We were not sleeping. And what was not even helping was when people would call you and ask you how you're doing, how the children are doing, and you're telling them how exhausted you are. The first thing they're telling you is when the baby is sleeping, you should also sleep. And they forget you have two humans. They don't sleep at the same time. And if they happen to sleep at the same time, that's the only time you get to take a bath. That's the only time you get to eat. So this is me coming from a lifestyle of just my husband and I managing our own time, managing our schedules, to suddenly a switch of these little ones are managing your schedule. Your life is revolving around these little ones. So if I was to look back, we should have probably gotten more support, professional support, because we kind of had support from family members, but they would also get tired, they'll get frustrated, they'll get stressed out, because they're equally learning on the job like you are. So it's best you get professional help, you seek professional help, because with the professionals, they know that's their work and they have to do it right. So getting professionals is something I would recommend. Then it came to the breast milk. I had a very good supply. I was pumping 2 liters of milk a day, but again, because I was sleep deprivation led to hormonal imbalance, led to depression, led to constantly being ill. And what did that mean? It meant that I didn't have, my immunity went so low that I could not sustain breastfeeding. So I felt so sick. I remember getting severe breast eczema, and for about a month I was being misdiagnosed. You'd go to gynecologist and they'll tell you have mastitis, so they're giving you antibiotics, and that meant you have to discard your milk, but there's no improvement. I went to pediatricians, no one could figure out what I was sick of, until my entire skin on my breast literally ripped off. That the milk would also have blood, the breast didn't have skin. You know, like how you have you have a wound and the skin goes off, you're just left with the white layer of the skin. That's what happened to my breast. So when it got to this point, I realized, like, oh no, now this is terrible. I cannot wear any cloth below a certain level because I didn't have skin. So I remember going to a skin specialist this time, and for the first time they found a solution. However, it was a bit too late. I had severe breast eczema, and some of the symptoms of breast eczema is every time I would have breast milk, my breast would itch. Every time the breasts are full, the skin would itch. So I didn't know it was eczema. So that's when I was diagnosed with severe breast eczema, and then my immunity was extremely low. So I remember the doctors telling me, you know what, we know they encourage mothers to breastfeed, we know how much you desire to breastfeed, but at this point it's a life and death situation. You're going to have to choose one. Either your presence in your children's life, or you tie on the breast milk and destroy your life. So I had to stop breastfeeding. I had to cut off breast milk, and as a matter of fact, for a while I hadn't breastfed because most of the time I was on antibiotics because of misdiagnosis, and that meant I was discarding my milk. So the lesson I also learned on this is that I know everyone will tell you your children have to be on exclusive breast milk for 6 months. Breast milk is the best, and blah blah blah. But don't put yourself on pressure. If you don't have enough breast milk supply, if you don't have breast milk, it's okay to substitute with formula. My children did not die. They grew up on formula. As a matter of fact, they were very healthy. I don't remember my kids falling sick when they were little. We didn't struggle with hospital visits. It was me who was the patient, but my kids were very healthy. They were very okay. they were above average on their weight. I could say formula did an amazing job. So I'm not discrediting breast milk, but if you don't have it, it's okay. It's okay to substitute the breast milk as long as you get the formula that works for your children. We used Aptamil and it did an amazing job on our kids. They didn't react to it. You also have to make sure your hygiene levels are high. So because our kids want formula, it meant more bottles, hygiene. It meant, of course, an effect on our finances because our children were taking one bottle of the small Aptamil bottles, one of them, one tin a day. So that meant every day of the week it's a new tin. So the solution for that is we had to look for a supplier that distributes Aptamil for us to cut costs on the formula. But to cut the long story short, the biggest lesson on that is don't feel less of a mother because you haven't breastfed your kids. What matters is your presence. Believe me, they'll not remember whether you get them formula or breast milk, but what they'll remember is your intentionality, your presence in their lives, your availability for them, and the security that you've given them. The other challenge that maybe I'd say we went through was the body changes, accepting my new body. So here I am, I have given birth, but now my body is feeling strange. The breasts have enlarged, the stomach is, of course, is big because of 2 babies, or even 1 baby, it will still be big. My clothes were no longer fitting me. I was puffy. My energy and vitality was compromised, and so that also led to depression because I suddenly felt very vulnerable. I suddenly felt like I don't understand who I am. And I want to encourage a mom out there that always remember that your body carried a whole human being or carried more than one human being, and just that is a lot. Just that makes you a super woman. Just that makes you so special. So don't feel less of yourself. Don't accept society to mock you. Don't accept society to dictate what kind of body you should have after you've given birth. What matters is, are the children alive? Are you okay? Do you have any complications or not? Not what people will say about you. There'll be time for your body to snap back. Focus on yourself. Show yourself a lot of grace. So back to my body changes. These are some of the things that changed. My eyesight. My eyesight got very terrible after giving birth. My eyesight, I don't know. Everything is literally blurry if I don't wear specs. My teeth, up until my kids were 10 months, so up until 10 months postpartum, my jaws would only stop at this. My teeth wouldn't meet. That was a big shocker for me. I remember going to the dentist and they're like, yeah, it must be an effect of hormonal imbalance. Your bones shifted when you get back and blah, blah, blah. So that changed. What else changed? My back pain. Oh my God. But now I'm okay. I could say 2 years later, now I'm okay. My back is fine. I'm doing absolutely well, but during that time the back pain was terrible, and then I got an issue with my knees. They would always shake, so my bones were not stable. I don't know, for some reason I had my stamina was affected, so it meant that there are times I would have to crawl because I cannot walk. There are times I would have to give my body time to reboot, especially when I wake up. So that meant in the middle of the night my husband would have to help with the kids because I wasn't wasn't that flexible after giving birth. What else changed? Or I had an emotional imbalance, if I should say. So I had highs and lows. Sometimes I'm extremely happy, other times I'm extremely low, and I don't know why. Then I'll easily get triggered or easily get angry. So if you are like me, or if you face what I face, show yourself some grace. And if you're exhausted, if you're tired, it's actually okay to take a break. Don't feel like you are an irresponsible mother if you leave your children to take a break. No, as a matter of fact, you are being responsible because you're taking care of you. You need a better you to take care of your children. Then I became forgetful. Oh my goodness. And I think that affected me so much. Just getting back to work, and I realized I don't grip things as fast as I used to. So accepting that this is a temporary situation. Now it's getting better, but I got so forgetful because your brain goes into a mode of I have to remember things to do with my children, and it doesn't have time to start remembering other things. So your brain just gets to a mode of filtering what it remembers and putting the others aside as not urgent to remember. So those were majorly the body changes that I faced. And one of the advices that I would give a new mom out there, or someone getting into this journey, is to show yourselves grace. Love yourself. Appreciate the fact that you carried a human being. That's a lot. It's a lot. So show yourself grace. Bask in the season. It's only a season. Always remember, it's a season. It's also going to pass. Of course, in that moment, it feels like, this season is not ending. There is issue after issue, but it actually gets better. It gets better, and there's no other way around it. Incidentally. Yes. So the takeaways from here is maybe the other one is investing in gadgets that would make your postpartum easier. Aside from seeking professional help to help with the kids, having equipments, if you can afford, that can make your life easy. Whether it's the diapers you're buying, ensuring that you're buying diapers that are for sensitive skin, so you don't go to hospital for issues of eczema or struggle with infections, or your children getting burnt, a nappy rash. Number 3, ensuring you're very clean. Hygiene is very, very key when you're raising children, because you don't want sick children. Oh my God, sick children. Stressful. So you don't want that. Ensure hygiene is key. Whoever is taking care of your kids or supporting the kids, ensure hygiene is key. Everything needs to be sterilized. Every clothes need to be ironed. Children's clothes need to be washed separately. Just be clean. Number 4 is I'm forgetting. Let me get back. Oh, I've remembered. For colic, what helped us to avoid colic? Luckily, we didn't have terrible colic. My kids would just have, I don't know if they had a high pain tolerance level, or we actually didn't struggle with colic. We ensured that they were always bapped. I can't emphasize that enough. Ensure your child belts after a feed. Bap them. You don't want air entering their tummy. Ensure you avoid eating gassy foods or acidic foods, because remember, whatever you eat goes to your breast milk, and so it's going to affect your child. Probably also what helped us was our kids were formula most of the time, and so it also maybe played a part in reducing colic, because formula is one consistent type of milk. It's not like breast milk. that keeps changing based on the diet that you're having, because actually even in breast milk there's healthy breast milk and unhealthy breast milk. It really depends on what the mother is feeding on. And then for bottle feeding, ensuring that when you're giving your child milk, the entire teat is covered with milk, so you want to avoid air bubbles. Yeah, colic is not a good thing to experience, and I'm really grateful to God that we didn't experience it. Also pray that you don't have a colicky baby. For the immunizations, we paid for the painless injections because we were not ready to have sick children. To have sick children with the sleepless nights we're already going through, with the stress, with the fatigue, we were facing, we opted to go for the painless immunizations. So I could say that was about it for my postpartum journey, the body changes I had, some of the hacks that helped me. And in the next episode, I'll be talking about my return to work and how motherhood affected my career, but also how to prepare for this new season in your life. See you in the next one.